Shocking scenes unfolded outside the courthouse this morning as fans and onlookers gathered, sensing that today's hearing would be far from ordinary. Jasmine, who had remained relatively quiet amidst the swirling rumors surrounding Rasheeda's divorce, made a jaw-dropping appearance that no one saw coming. Cameras flashed as she walked through the courthouse doors, her expression a mix of determination and defiance. Whispers immediately filled the air. What could she possibly reveal, and why now? Emotions ran high, with every step she took sending ripples through a room already brimming with tension. Rasheeda, who had entered the courthouse with a poised exterior, visibly stiffened the moment she spotted Jasmine. Friends and family members exchanged nervous glances, and fans watching live streams across social media were left in utter disbelief. The air was electric, a mixture of anticipation, fear, and raw curiosity. As Jasmine approached the bench, her voice cut through the murmurs, commanding attention. "I think it's time the truth comes out," she announced, leaving everyone stunned. The family was left divided, courtroom alliances shifting with each passing second. Lawyers adjusted their papers nervously, while cameras captured every flicker of reaction. Outside, fans flooded the streets, recording and sharing every moment, each clip going viral within minutes. This wasn't just another hearing, it was the epicenter of a scandal that promised to redefine friendships, loyalties, and the public's perception of everyone involved. Emotions ran unchecked as Jasmine prepared to drop bombshell after bombshell, ensuring that today's proceedings would be remembered long after the gavel came down. What secrets would she reveal? How would Rasheeda respond? And what would this mean for the tangled web of relationships surrounding them both? Fans are already calling this the most explosive courtroom drama of the year, and you won't want to miss a second of it. The courtroom was tense as the proceedings began, every eye fixed on Rasheeda, who sat with a composed but wary expression. Jasmine's arrival had already set off a chain reaction of whispers and exchanged glances, and the atmosphere crackled with anticipation. As the judge called the session to order, Rasheeda's attorney rose to speak, attempting to maintain control over the narrative, but the murmurs in the room made it clear that this hearing would not follow the usual protocol. Jasmine, standing near the entrance, seemed almost ethereal in her determination. Her gaze locked on Rasheeda as if daring her to respond before a single word had even been spoken. The spectators leaned forward, sensing the brewing storm, while the cameras rolled, capturing every flicker of tension for viewers who were already glued to their screens. Jasmine finally cleared her throat, stepping into the center of the room with a quiet authority that contrasted sharply with the growing chaos around her. "I've been silent for too long," she began, her voice steady but charged with emotion. "And today, I can't sit back anymore while lies and secrets dictate the story." The courtroom fell into a stunned silence, with Rasheeda's lips pressing into a thin line as her mind raced. The air was thick with expectation, and you could almost feel the collective heartbeat of the audience, waiting for the revelation that was about to unfold. The first bombshell dropped almost immediately. Jasmine recounted moments that many had assumed were private, exposing conversations, private messages, and events that had been hidden from public view. "It wasn't just about the separation," she said, eyes glinting with intensity. "There were decisions made, words spoken, and actions taken that no one knew about. Until now." Rasheeda's lawyer tried to interject, citing relevance and confidentiality, but Jasmine's presence was commanding, her aura of confidence making the room shift uncomfortably in their seats. Family members, seated a few rows behind, exchanged tense glances, some whispering in disbelief, others holding their heads as if trying to process the avalanche of truths being unleashed before them. The public gallery erupted with whispers, phones raised high to capture every expression, every reaction. Outside the courthouse, live streams exploded with comments, fans speculating and sharing theories at lightning speed. Emotions ran high as Jasmine continued, weaving a story that was at once heartbreaking and shocking, detailing betrayals and misunderstandings that had festered long before the divorce papers were even filed. She painted a vivid picture of friendships strained, of confidences broken, and of loyalty tested in ways no one outside the room could have imagined. Rasheeda, though composed on the surface, struggled to maintain her poise as Jasmine revealed personal accounts of heated arguments, secret alliances, and moments of vulnerability that had never been publicly aired. "I never wanted it to come to this," Jasmine admitted, her voice catching slightly, betraying the weight of the memories she was recounting. "But the truth deserves to be told, no matter the consequences." The judge called for a brief recess as the intensity in the room reached a breaking point. And the cameras continued to roll, capturing the subtle reactions of everyone involved. Fans watching online commented endlessly, debating every nuance, analyzing expressions, and predicting the next explosive revelation. When the hearing resumed, the focus shifted back to the interactions between Rasheeda and Jasmine, whose confrontations were both verbal and psychological, each exchange charged with tension and unspoken accusations. "You think you know the story," Jasmine said pointedly, "but there are chapters that haven't been read, pages that have been deliberately torn out, and secrets that only I can reveal." Rasheeda's hands tightened into fists, her composure threatened by the barrage of details being laid bare. Lawyers scrambled to regain control, attempting to object, to redirect, to minimize the damage. But the momentum had shifted irrevocably. The courtroom had become a stage for a drama that was part reality, part spectacle, and entirely captivating. Fans online were already dubbing it the showdown of the year, as each twist seemed more impossible than the last. Emotional testimonies followed, with friends and family members providing context, support, or even subtle confirmations of Jasmine's claims. Alliances shifted visibly, with some relatives offering hesitant nods, others withdrawing in visible discomfort. The tension escalated when Jasmine dropped a revelation about a secret financial arrangement that Rasheeda had allegedly kept hidden, a claim that left both the family and the legal team scrambling for verification. Cameras captured the subtle signs of panic and confusion. The quick glances exchanged between attorneys, and the flustered attempts to manage the fallout. The crowd outside, still buzzing from the initial revelations, grew even more animated, sharing clips, tagging friends, and speculating on social media about what would happen next. Jasmine's revelations were relentless. A carefully constructed cascade of claims and evidence that kept the courtroom hanging on every word. "This isn't just about money, or property, or the legalities of a divorce," she emphasized, her tone sharp and unwavering. "This is about integrity, honesty, and the truth finally coming to light." Rasheeda's expression was unreadable, a mask that barely contained the storm brewing beneath. Friends in the gallery shifted uncomfortably, some whispering reassurances, others offering subtle warnings. The energy in the room was palpable, a mixture of shock, anticipation, and disbelief. As Jasmine continued, she detailed a series of private confrontations. Some heated, some tender, all charged with emotion, showing a side of the story that no one outside the inner circle had ever witnessed. Each revelation added fuel to the fire, the courtroom responding with gasps, murmurs, and at times, stunned silence. Outside, the news had already gone viral, clips being replayed endlessly, with viewers dissecting every gesture, every pause, every emphatic statement. The tension between Jasmine and Rasheeda reached its peak as accusations flew, defenses were mounted, and the emotional stakes climbed ever higher. "I tried to protect you, to protect everyone," Jasmine admitted, her voice almost breaking. "But lies have a way of destroying everything they touch." Rasheeda's eyes glistened as she fought to respond, her own narrative of hurt, betrayal, and frustration surfacing in measured words, each carefully chosen but no less impactful. The emotional conflict was intense, a dramatic dance of accusation and defense, of exposure and concealment. And every observer, whether in the courtroom or online, could feel the magnitude of what was unfolding. Lawyers intervened repeatedly, trying to redirect the dialogue, to prevent the situation from devolving. But the personal stakes made every legal maneuver secondary to the raw human drama playing out in front of them. Jasmine's final points for the session focused on promises broken, relationships tested, and the painful journey of navigating truth in a world built on appearances. "Today, I stand here not to hurt, but to reveal," she concluded, her gaze sweeping the courtroom, landing briefly on Rasheeda before meeting the eyes of friends, family, and the audience beyond the walls. The judge called for another recess, giving everyone a moment to absorb the revelations. But the impact was already irreversible. Fans watching live were inundated with updates, theories, and speculation, the hashtags trending within minutes. The courthouse had transformed into a theater of emotion, conflict, and suspense, each moment more compelling than the last, leaving everyone involved and everyone watching on the edge of their seats. The first chapter of this unprecedented hearing ended with a collective gasp, a silent acknowledgement that nothing would ever be the same again. That alliances had shifted, and that the story was far from over. and as the participants and spectators prepared for the next phase of revelations. One thing was certain: the drama had only just begun, and every eye remained fixed on the unfolding spectacle. Eager, anxious, and completely captivated by the shocking truths that had just been unleashed. As the courtroom reconvened, the tension was almost tangible, every eye locked on Jasmine as she prepared to continue her revelations. Rasheeda remained seated, her posture rigid, betraying only a fraction of the turmoil raging beneath her composed exterior. Friends and family exchanged wary glances, unsure where to place their loyalties now that so many hidden truths had surfaced. The judge, attempting to maintain order, called for decorum, but even the gavel's authority seemed to falter against the electric energy that had taken over the room. Jasmine rose again, her voice calm yet cutting through the heavy atmosphere, like a knife. "There's more you need to understand," she began, eyes scanning the gallery. "The story you think you know is only a fragment of the reality." Murmurs rippled through the crowd, each person straining to catch every word, while cameras captured every flicker of emotion on Rasheeda's face. The drama intensified as Jasmine recounted moments of betrayal that had never been revealed before, stories that implicated not only Rasheeda but also some of her closest confidants. The courtroom seemed to hold its breath as she detailed clandestine meetings, secret messages, and conversations that painted a complex web of loyalties and deception. "It wasn't just about decisions made behind closed doors," Jasmine said, her tone growing sharper, more urgent. "It was about patterns, repeated actions that reveal character in ways that no apology can ever erase." Rasheeda's attorney interjected, questioning the relevance of certain claims. But Jasmine's commanding presence left little room for dismissal. Each revelation seemed carefully timed to maximize shock and impact, a sequence of truths building, layer upon layer, leaving the courtroom in a state of near disbelief. Family members visibly shifted in their seats, some whispering words of concern, others clasping their hands tightly, bracing for the emotional blows that were still to come. Outside the courthouse, social media erupted as live streams caught every moment. Fans were astounded, sharing and replaying clips, speculating endlessly about the implications of each new disclosure. The energy outside mirrored the charged atmosphere within, a collective anticipation that seemed to stretch endlessly as Jasmine continued her testimony. She unveiled hidden alliances that had formed and crumbled, moments where trust had been broken, and times when the consequences of decisions had rippled far beyond what anyone could have imagined. "You think you know people," she said pointedly, her gaze fixing on Rasheeda. "But the truth has a way of revealing itself in the most unexpected moments." The tension escalated further when Jasmine disclosed a series of personal betrayals, involving mutual friends and close family members. Painting a vivid picture of fractured relationships and conflicting loyalties, Rasheeda's reactions were subtle but telling, brief flickers of emotion that spoke volumes to the audience, signaling both pain and defensiveness. The courtroom drama reached a fever pitch as Jasmine dropped another bombshell, one involving an alleged financial scheme that had been orchestrated in secrecy. The revelation sent whispers through the gallery and caused visible unease among those who had believed they understood the situation. Cameras captured the shock, confusion, and occasional anger, with social media fans analyzing every nuance of the unfolding story. "It's not just about what's legal," Jasmine emphasized, "it's about what's right, and what has been hidden in the shadows for far too long." Rasheeda's composure wavered as she attempted to respond, her carefully crafted narrative of innocence and victimhood colliding with the avalanche of evidence and testimony presented by Jasmine. The judge, now visibly concerned about maintaining control, allowed a short recess to give everyone a chance to regroup. But even as the court emptied momentarily, the tension remained palpable. Outside, the crowd buzzed with speculation, the latest clips going viral, each revelation fueling new debates, reactions, and theories. When the session resumed, the focus shifted to interactions between other key figures, family members, mutual friends, and witnesses whose own accounts complicated the narrative further. Each new perspective added depth and drama, showing a multi-layered web of relationships strained to the breaking point. Emotional confrontations erupted, with words flying as alliances were questioned and loyalties tested. "You weren't honest with me," Jasmine confronted a former ally, her tone cutting and unwavering. "And now the consequences are clear for everyone to see." The courtroom became a theater of raw human emotion, the legal proceedings almost secondary to the storm of feelings, accusations, and revelations playing out in real time. Rasheeda, now visibly shaken, attempted to maintain her composure, offering measured responses and carefully timed rebuttals. Yet even her most carefully crafted statements could not undo the narrative that Jasmine had so forcefully constructed. Every observer, whether inside the courtroom or online, could sense the fragility of relationships hanging in the balance. The tension peaked when Jasmine revealed a series of private confrontations, moments that had been carefully hidden from public scrutiny. Each story added emotional weight, demonstrating the complexity and depth of the conflicts at hand. The courtroom responded in kind. Gasps, murmurs, and at times stunned silence marked the audience's reactions. The drama escalating with every word. Social media continued to amplify the spectacle, with fans dissecting each detail, speculating about motives, and debating the implications. The emotional stakes were enormous, with friendships, family ties, and reputations all hanging by a thread. As Jasmine approached what seemed like the climax of her testimony for the day, she delivered a series of statements designed to leave everyone questioning their assumptions, highlighting both the fragility of trust and the enduring power of secrets. Rasheeda's responses grew increasingly strained, revealing glimpses of vulnerability, frustration, and even regret. Friends and family were forced to navigate a shifting landscape of truth and accusation, with loyalties realigned and new alliances forming in real time. The legal team, meanwhile, struggled to manage the fallout, attempting to mitigate the dramatic impact while maintaining a sense of procedural order. Fans outside continued to react in real time, sharing reactions, theories, and analysis, their collective anticipation building toward the next revelation. Jasmine's final words in this session were both measured and emphatic, underscoring the central theme of truth, accountability, and the consequences of hidden actions. "This is more than just a hearing," she stated, her gaze sweeping the room. "It's a reckoning, and the truth cannot be silenced any longer." The judge called a temporary adjournment, allowing everyone a moment to absorb the weight of the revelations, but the impact of Jasmine's testimony was undeniable. Fans, both inside and outside the courtroom, were left breathless, captivated by the unfolding drama, and eager for the next chapter in this extraordinary story. The second part of the hearing promised even more revelations, deeper insights, and higher stakes, ensuring that no one would be able to look away. Alliances were fractured, emotions were raw, and the narrative had shifted irrevocably. As the participants prepared for the continuation, the audience, both present and online, remained on the edge of their seats, anticipating the next shocking twist in a saga that had already defied expectation, challenging perceptions and leaving everyone wondering what could possibly come next. As the hearing resumed for the third session, the courtroom was thick with anticipation, the air practically vibrating with tension. The energy from Jasmine's previous revelations had not dissipated. If anything, it had intensified. Rasheeda sat with a forced calm, her eyes betraying flashes of anger, hurt, and incredulity as she followed every word Jasmine spoke. Friends and family leaned forward, anxious to see how the next round of disclosures would unfold. "There's still so much you don't know," Jasmine began, her voice measured yet charged with an undercurrent of emotion that made every listener pause. "I've held back for long enough, but today, I will reveal everything, no matter the consequences." The courtroom fell into an expectant hush, the only sound, the faint rustle of papers and the soft shuffle of shoes against the floor. Every camera lens was trained on Jasmine, capturing each flicker of expression and subtle gesture that added gravity to her testimony. She delved deeper into personal encounters, recounting secret meetings, overheard conversations, and moments of betrayal that had remained hidden until now. "You think these were minor incidents, inconsequential to anyone outside this room," Jasmine said, her gaze locking with Rasheeda's, "but they reveal the truth of intentions, the reality of relationships that have been carefully masked by smiles and assurances." Gasps rippled through the gallery as she detailed private arguments, the kind that leave scars not visible to the public eye, recounting them with a vividness that left everyone in stunned silence. The impact of her words was magnified by her delivery, each revelation timed for maximum effect, each pause allowing the room to absorb the weight of the claim. Rasheeda's attorney attempted to interject, challenging the relevance of Jasmine's testimony, but Jasmine's presence commanded attention, rendering objections nearly ineffective. The courtroom drama escalated further when Jasmine introduced new evidence, screenshots, voice recordings, and texts that corroborated her accounts. Murmurs erupted among the spectators, the family members exchanged strained looks, and even the legal teams struggled to maintain composure as the weight of proof collided with the emotional intensity of the room. This isn't just about the past, Jasmine continued, her voice steady and unflinching. It's about the choices we make, the patterns we follow, and the consequences that inevitably follow when honesty is compromised. The tension between Jasmine and Rasheeda became increasingly palpable. Each retort, each subtle glance, and each measured sigh revealed layers of emotion: anger, disappointment, sorrow, and frustration. Friends who had remained neutral until now shifted uneasily, unsure which side to align with as the story unfolded in real time. Fans outside the courthouse were glued to their devices, live streaming every moment, replaying critical reactions, and speculating furiously on what each revelation meant for the broader narrative. Social media buzzed with theories, predictions, and intense debates, creating a virtual echo chamber that amplified the drama unfolding within the walls of the courthouse. Jasmine's revelations took a turn that left the courtroom reeling. She exposed an intricate web of deceit involving mutual friends, previously hidden financial arrangements, and instances where trust had been manipulated for personal gain. Each disclosure felt like a meticulously timed plot twist, keeping spectators on edge, with emotions running high on every side. "You can deny it all you want," Jasmine asserted, her eyes flashing with determination. "But the evidence speaks for itself, and the truth will out, no matter how deeply it's buried." Rasheeda, usually composed and strategic in her public appearances, struggled to maintain her calm. Every carefully constructed defense she attempted was met with additional layers of revelation, each one chipping away at the narrative she had hoped to control. The courtroom, already a charged arena of emotion, now felt like a crucible where alliances, reputations, and loyalties were being tested and often shattered before the eyes of all present. As Jasmine progressed, she revealed confrontations that had occurred behind closed doors, instances of manipulation, emotional blackmail, and attempts to influence perceptions of friends and family. Each account added complexity and depth, showing that the drama was far from one-dimensional and that the interpersonal conflicts ran deeper than anyone outside the inner circle had ever imagined. Reactions were immediate and intense. Family members whispered urgently, friends shifted uncomfortably, and Rasheeda's team grappled with both the emotional and procedural ramifications of each new disclosure. The gallery watched in awe, captivated by the intensity of the moment. While social media exploded with commentary, speculation, and replayed footage dissecting every nuance of the interactions, Jasmine's strategy became clear: to unravel a narrative, expose hidden truths, and force accountability from everyone involved, leaving no stone unturned. "This isn't revenge," she clarified, her tone unwavering despite the storm around her. "This is about setting the record straight, about acknowledging the reality that's been ignored for too long." The tension climaxed when she exposed previously unmentioned financial mismanagement that implicated multiple parties, leaving the courtroom in stunned silence. Rasheeda's expression flickered between shock, indignation, and careful recalibration, as she attempted to navigate the fallout while maintaining an image of poise. Every witness, friend, and family member in the room was now caught in the web Jasmine had spun, forced to reevaluate loyalties and reconsider what they believed to be true. The courtroom had transformed from a legal venue into a theater of raw emotion, human frailty, and explosive revelations. Spectators were captivated, some whispering fervently, others holding their heads as the drama unfolded with increasing intensity. Cameras captured every sigh, every tense pause, and every subtle flicker of emotion, broadcasting it instantly to a world eager for every detail. Outside, fans speculated endlessly, theories and debates multiplying by the minute, hashtags trending, and each new clip shared, amplifying the drama even further. Jasmine's account became more personal, her tone softening as she revealed emotional vulnerabilities and moments of hurt that had previously been masked by anger or frustration. The contrast between raw emotion and sharp accusations created a tension that left everyone in the courtroom and online entranced, unable to look away. Rasheeda, meanwhile, attempted to respond, balancing defensiveness with vulnerability, each carefully chosen word attempting to preserve dignity while countering the increasingly damaging narrative. The emotional stakes were immense, with friendships, reputations, and familial bonds all teetering precariously. Every new piece of information Jasmine provided acted as a catalyst, pushing the participants toward moments of confrontation, confession, and sometimes, unexpected reconciliation. Legal teams scrambled to manage procedural requirements while the human drama dominated every aspect of the hearing. The intensity of Part 3 reached its peak when Jasmine disclosed a series of events implicating previously trusted allies, demonstrating patterns of behavior that few had expected. The courtroom reacted with audible gasps, the air thick with suspense. As those involved grappled with the unfolding reality, each revelation built upon the last, creating a domino effect of shock, disbelief, and mounting emotional complexity. The gallery, both present and virtually via live streams, was riveted, captivated by the depth, intensity, and spectacle of the drama. Viewers could feel the tension, the stakes, and the emotional roller coaster, hanging on every word, every pause, every pointed glance. As Part 3 drew to a close, Jasmine made one final statement for the session, her voice calm but unwavering. The truth cannot be hidden forever, and the time for pretending it doesn't exist is over. Today, everyone will see the reality, and there is no going back. The gavel fell, signaling a recess, but the impact of her revelations lingered, leaving the courtroom, the gallery, and online audiences in a state of anticipation. Fully aware that the most shocking moments were still ahead, alliances had shifted, loyalties tested, and the narrative transformed irreversibly, setting the stage for the climactic Part 4, where secrets, betrayals, and confrontations would reach their ultimate crescendo. As the fourth and final part of the hearing began, the courtroom was electric with anticipation, the weight of Jasmine's previous revelations still hanging heavy in the air. Rasheeda sat with a carefully maintained composure, though subtle signs tightened jaw, fleeting glances, and a slight tremor in her hands betrayed the inner turmoil she was experiencing. Friends and family seemed to hold their breath, aware that this session would be decisive, potentially reshaping relationships and reputations forever. Jasmine stood again, her presence commanding attention as all eyes turned toward her. "What I'm about to share now is the culmination of everything you've heard so far," she began, her voice steady, resonant, and unmistakably firm. "This is the moment where the hidden truths, the secrets, and the consequences converge." A hushed tension spread through the room. Even the judge leaned forward slightly, sensing that this was more than a typical hearing. Jasmine recounted a series of explosive incidents that had remained completely private, detailing interactions between Rasheeda and individuals whose identities added layers of shock and betrayal. She spoke of covert communications, moments of manipulation, and instances where personal interests had overridden trust and friendship. Gasps and murmurs echoed throughout the gallery as her testimony revealed details no one could have anticipated. "These are not just isolated events," Jasmine asserted, her eyes flashing with intensity. "They are patterns, actions that reveal character, loyalty, and integrity or the lack thereof." Rasheeda's lawyer rose repeatedly, objecting to the relevance of certain statements. But the courtroom seemed increasingly captivated by the human drama unfolding rather than by procedural norms. The emotional stakes escalated as Jasmine revealed previously undisclosed financial entanglements, highlighting transactions and agreements that added a complex, almost cinematic layer to the already sensational story. Friends, relatives, and associates visibly shifted in their seats, caught between shock, disbelief, and the instinct to defend themselves or Rasheeda. The tension grew exponentially when Jasmine dropped the most shocking revelation of Ula betrayal that involved someone within Rasheeda's inner circle, someone trusted implicitly, whose actions had consequences that rippled far beyond what anyone had imagined. The courtroom reacted immediately. Gasps, whispers, and audible reactions filled the air. Cameras captured every expression, replaying the subtle shifts in Rasheeda's demeanor, the flickers of realization across her friends' faces, and the stunned silence of her family. Social media erupted, with fans dissecting every nuance, debating the implications, and speculating on the next possible move. Jasmine's narrative was relentless, a masterclass in dramatic timing and emotional intensity. Each statement built upon the last, ensuring that the momentum never waned. She interspersed moments of vulnerability, recounting personal hurt, disappointment, and the emotional weight of carrying hidden knowledge for so long. "I did not come here to destroy anyone," she emphasized, voice firm yet tinged with sorrow. "I came to reveal the truth, and the consequences of ignoring it have grown too great to remain hidden." Rasheeda attempted to respond, her voice calm yet strained, offering measured rebuttals while trying to maintain credibility in front of both the courtroom and the thousands of viewers watching live online. Each exchange between the two women became a battle of composure, strategy, and emotional intensity, with subtle gestures and glances carrying as much weight as spoken words. The drama intensified further as Jasmine revealed a series of secret conversations between mutual acquaintances, uncovering motivations, hidden alliances, and moments where trust had been compromised for personal gain. Friends and family, caught in the web of disclosures, reacted with a mix of denial, shock, and reluctant acknowledgement. The courtroom had become a theater of human emotion, where legal procedures were secondary to the spectacle of unfolding truths, and each revelation left the audience more captivated than the last. Outside, fans shared clips, hashtags trended, and online discussions exploded with analysis, opinions, and speculations. The tension reached a crescendo when Jasmine detailed moments of emotional manipulation that had been carefully concealed, showing how even the closest relationships had been tested, strained, and, in some cases, fractured irreparably. Rasheeda's expression shifted repeatedly, reflecting the conflict between defense, acknowledgement, and outrage. Friends whispered urgently, some attempting to mediate, others retreating from the drama entirely. Jasmine's final wave of revelations left the courtroom stunned. She detailed events that exposed hidden patterns of behavior, the consequences of deceit, and the intricate ways personal decisions had affected everyone in the room. The judge called for a brief recess, giving participants a moment to process the overwhelming torrent of information, but the impact of Jasmine's testimony was undeniable. Fans, both inside the courtroom and online, were riveted, fully absorbed in the story, discussing every revelation, and eagerly anticipating the next installment of the drama. As the hearing reconvened, Jasmine concluded her testimony with a powerful statement: "The truth has weight, and it has consequences. Today, you've seen it in its entirety, and no one can pretend otherwise. What happens next is for you all to decide, but the reality has been laid bare." Rasheeda, though visibly shaken, stood to address the court, her voice measured but carrying undeniable emotion. "I will not deny that mistakes were made," she admitted, carefully choosing her words. "But some of the narratives presented today are distorted, and I intend to clarify and respond fully." Friends, family, and spectators watched with bated breath, aware that even with Jasmine's revelations, the story was not fully concluded. The courtroom had witnessed an extraordinary display of confrontation, emotional intensity, and shocking disclosures, each layer adding depth and complexity to the saga. Alliances had shifted, loyalties had been tested, and reputations were forever altered. Fans and viewers remained captivated, following every development, sharing theories, and debating the motivations and consequences of the events. As part drew to a close, it was clear that the courtroom drama had transcended a simple legal proceeding, becoming an unforgettable spectacle of human emotion, raw conflict, and dramatic revelation. The impact of Jasmine's testimony, Rasheeda's responses, and the reactions of everyone involved left the audience suspended in suspense, eager to witness the aftermath, and fully aware that the consequences of today's revelations would reverberate for months, if not years, to come. The tension, intensity, and emotion of the hearing had reached its peak, setting the stage for the concluding segment, where viewers would finally reflect on the revelations, speculate on future developments, and be invited to engage directly with the story in a call to action that ensured the drama extended beyond the courtroom walls. The courtroom drama we've witnessed today has been nothing short of extraordinary, leaving fans, family, and friends alike reeling from the shocking revelations and intense confrontations. Jasmine's courage to step forward and expose long-hidden truths has set the stage for conversations that will continue far beyond these walls, reshaping perceptions and challenging loyalties in ways no one could have anticipated. Rasheeda's responses, measured yet emotionally charged, have offered glimpses into the complexity of navigating public scrutiny, personal betrayal, and the tangled web of relationships that surround her. Emotions ran high throughout the hearing, and it's clear that the fallout from these events will ripple through every connection, leaving questions about trust, integrity, and accountability that remain unresolved. Fans are left to debate what really happened behind closed doors, who can be trusted, and what the long-term consequences will be for everyone involved. While the legal process will continue, the human drama we've witnessed today has captured the attention of thousands, if not millions, around the world, proving once again that reality can often be stranger and more intense than fiction. What will happen next? Will alliances be mended, Or will the revelations irreparably fracture relationships? Who will emerge with their reputation intact, and who will have to confront the full weight of the consequences? We want to hear your thoughts. Share your opinions in the comments below. Do you believe Jasmine's revelations, or do you think there's more to the story that hasn't been told? Don't forget to like this video if you were captivated by the drama and subscribe to our channel to stay updated on every shocking twist as it unfolds. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a moment of this explosive saga. Your voice matters, and your perspective adds to the conversation. Join us as we continue to follow this unforgettable story. Because one thing is certain, the drama is far from over, and the next chapter promises to be just as electrifying.